And we would like to continue with our program, and I'm inviting Elise Chen from Porsche Digital on stage. She has a group of experts in this area, and we're very happy to have her here this morning to discuss the building of AI ecosystems. And we have, the topics is about innovation, collaboration, and how to actually build responsible AI practices. So Elise, please welcome to the stage. I'm excited to hear whom you have as your partners on stage.
He will turn it on for you. Thank you. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's wonderful to see many familiar faces here. I'm Alice. I came from Taiwan to Berlin 6 years ago, and this is my 6th Asia Berlin Summit. So today, I'm honored to welcome you all to our panel discussion on building AI ecosystems, fostering innovation, collaboration, and responsible AI practices. In this panel, we will delve into the importance and mission of AI ecosystem. We will explore how these ecosystems can drive innovation, encourage collaboration, and ensure responsible AI practices. Before we proceed with our awesome panelists, please allow me to introduce a bit about myself and Porsche Digital Campus. So this is basically the project which I'm leading at Porsche, and this is a joint initiative from Porsche AG and Porsche Digital, starting from Germany. You probably know Porsche, famous for producing the most exciting sport cars. But what you may not know is that we are also deeply invested in AI and deep tech. So we have over 20 PhDs, data scientists working on AI solutions every day. Our mission of Porsche Digital Campus is to connect students and young professionals specialized in AI software technologies with business and science entities. Our first physical campus is in Heilbronn in Baden-Württemberg, South Germany, at the Innovation Park Artificial Intelligence, which we just opened 1 month ago, and we aim to extend to create one of the largest AI ecosystems in Europe with European value, and this is very important for Porsche. We believe in fostering global AI ecosystems through offering access to mentorship program, internship, hackathons, and more, thereby strengthening our position as a digital innovation driver at Porsche. Okay, so now let me introduce you our super awesome panelists today. So first, we have a female speaker, Dr. Tina Klüwer. Please welcome Tina. So Tina is a director at K.I.E.Z, the Artificial Intelligence Entrepreneurship Center. She is recognized as an expert, manager, and technical ambassador for AI implementations in business. Thank you, Tina, for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And our next speaker, Hendrik Remigereau. I'm so sorry for my pronunciation. Remigereau. I try to use Google Translation. It suggests me a Latin language, and I use ChatGPT. They told me this doesn't really categorize in any language route. So sorry for my pronunciations. Hendrik, he is a founding director of Merantix AI Campus Berlin, a co-working community and knowledge transfer platform for European AI ecosystem. He has background in building ecosystems at the intersections of corporate innovations, startups, and venture capital. Nice to have you, Hendrik.
Thank you. Thanks.
And another female speaker we have here, so we are really diverse here. Sabrina Garcia. She is the director of regional project Digital Skill to Success in Asia, based in India at K.I.E.Z. She joined K.I.E.Z 9 years ago and has held various positions at K.I.E.Z headquarters, from South Africa, Mexico, in the field of governance, innovation, and digital transformation. Sabrina, thank you to have you.
Thank you very much.
And our last but not the least speaker coming far away from China, Dong Han. So he is a CEO of reInvent.ai, focusing on foundation models and generative AI. He has over 15 years of experience in AI research, commercialization, and technology incubation.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's move to the first question already. Can each of you please introduce yourself shortly, and what is your mission in the context of AI and the AI ecosystem? So let's start with Tina.
All right. Yeah, thanks a lot. So basically, I have been around in the field of AI for quite a long time. It's almost 20 years now when I started studying computational linguistics, and I also did a PhD there. And I did a lot of research and then founded my own AI startup that was about automation of customer service communication. Just now, I'm head of an initiative of the Berlin universities. That is the goal of our initiative is to help and support AI startups from the science and from research. So mostly from the Berlin universities, but not limited to it. So whenever you feel like you want to build an own AI startup and you need support, please contact us. And additionally to that, I do a lot of political work. So I am part of the Chancellor's Zukunftsrat of the German Chancellor, and I try to bring together all different kind of viewpoints from artificial intelligence. And I'm mostly dealing with AI startups and spending all my enthusiasm and passion in bringing that further for Germany and for Europe.
Cool, yeah. So I'm with Merantix. Merantix is an AI investor and venture studio. We have built about 10 companies to date in artificial intelligence across different industries, so from healthcare to climate tech to sustainable materials, so very broad. About 2 years and 2 months ago, Merantix has started the AI Campus in Berlin. The AI Campus is a co-working community, as was introduced. We have about 80 companies in the AI space on campus, with about 1,000 members now on campus that are using the campus, and we have about 250 events now per year, so sometimes 2 a day, all in the space of artificial intelligence, both tailored to technical talent, so engineers, but also business talent, so startup founders, investors, and really wanted to kind of foster that AI ecosystem in Berlin and create a physical home for it in the capital of Germany.
I work for K.I.E.Z, and as K.I.E.Z, we are basically implementing development projects in more than 100 countries around the globe on behalf of the German government. And right now I'm leading a project, a very exciting project on digital skills to succeed in Asia. So what we are hoping to do is basically training university students in digital skills, and of course AI is the way to go. And if you look at OpenAI, it's basically the biggest and fastest growing consumer product there is, basically. And if you look at the universities at the same time, they're rather building knowledge slowly over years, over generations. So what we're trying to do is actually building a university networks between the two regions in order to develop really this peer exchange, learn from each other, and basically bring these together.
So I actually spent half of my time in Asia, half of that in Berlin. So I guess it's perfect for me to be here. I'm so happy to be back in Berlin. And we are building a company that focuses on large language models. So our primary goal is to build foundation models for Europe. The models, what we aim to be is to build models that is as powerful as the OpenAI models, as just the other panelist speaks, that the OpenAI models are so powerful that like everyone is currently using that, and we are trying to build same thing for the more like multicultural and multilingual environment in Europe.
Thank you all for sharing your mission with us. Now let's delve into the importance of ecosystem in building and scaling AI companies. So I would like to ask each of you, why do you believe ecosystems are essential for building and scaling AI companies?
Well, at the K.I.E.Z, which is basically all about community, we are super sure that we can only achieve our goals and bringing AI startups to power and supporting them as best as we can if we do it together. So this is not a single player show. It's not about just focusing on one startup and making that successful. Every startup can only be successful in exchange. So we need the other companies, already established companies. We need research. We need political members. We have a lot of different stakeholders involved in our community, in our society, and it's pretty much, I would say, the baseline of the success. So if they can't exchange ideas, if they can't cooperate, then we would not be successful in supporting these startups.
Yeah, I think when we think about ecosystems, we always think about what does an entrepreneur need to really be successful with their startup. And building a startup is very hard, right? So we are trying to, with the ecosystem, make it easier and increase the likelihood of success. And for that, we kind of think about the entrepreneurial journey. And it starts with kind of an idea, right? IP coming out of universities, and how to then transfer that IP into a business case. You then need co-founders, you need a team, you need talent. So how can we get the talent into that ecosystem to make it accessible for the entrepreneurs? Then you need money, right? So we have investors in our community and kind of try to get the access for our startups to these investors, make it easier. And then you need customers, right? So you need companies, bigger companies that can use your products and can also kind of test them in early prototypes. So that's how we think about the ecosystem, basically like a journey from kind of idea and the IP that comes out of universities all the way to how you can scale it. And then last but not least, as Tina mentioned, politics, right? We also need the regulations and the environment for these companies to thrive.
Absolutely, and if we define ecosystems really as actors, as stakeholders coming together to work together sustainably, it can't be all about building and creating AI companies as such. There has to be really a connection between the users and the companies at that point to really create value, because that's what we actually want at the end of the day. Maybe the example also coming back what we just heard. I mean, some studies show that in some university courses, 90% of students use generative AI to cheat. So it's not really to build the world's best and biggest homework cheating tool. It must be more than that. And that is actually what we're trying to do, to bring people together, an ecosystem together, to really make a difference, to create change. I would also like to point out that the German government recently launched a network, the Digital.Global network, that brings more than 40 partner countries together to work on the world's most challenging problems there are at the time, like fighting poverty, combating hunger, getting access to health systems for everyone, just to name a few. And that is what an ecosystem should be all about, to really create value, to make a difference for the people who are actually using it.
For us, the AI ecosystem is pretty important because like we need to interact with all different stakeholders when we are building the large language models. So there are industry partners, there are research institutions, there are application developers. There's also open source communities, as well as investors, of course. So with all these parties that build the ecosystem, we really need to collaborate a lot with all of them and trying to to build the product in the beginning, and then also build the vertical foundation models on top of that, and then have lots of discussions, interactions with the open source community and application developers who can build lots of stuff on top of these models. And without them, like, it's almost impossible for us to scale or to be relevant. So I think it's really all about this joint innovation, collaboration, and brainstorming, and also, of course, we also need to interact with the policymakers so that we also pay attention a lot to the responsible AI security, all this kind of stuff. So it's really something that an entire AI ecosystem can do. I mean, we as like small companies, just tiny piece of the entire system. So we are really happy and open to work with all different parties.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, like, when people heard about Porsche again, then they have this like traditional image sitting in South Germany and so on. But actually, for example, I was a first foreign employee in Berlin 6 years ago, and our official office language now is changed to English. And we know that it's very important to be connected with the university, with the startups. So that's why we set up first our Porsche Digital Lab in Berlin 6 years ago. So we hire lots of scientists to work on deep tech. So we have AI, IoT, and blockchain team, and to try to apply those technologies back to Porsche different business unit. And we try to teach our productions, our manufacturers, even salesperson about how AI can improve your company processes, your daily life. So that's also what we truly believe. We do lots of POC in-house, but we also work closely with the startup. We have Porsche Venture investing in more mature startup, but we also have APX, now Hartfeld, super early stage investor investing. We want to be the first investor of the startups. So to start shaping the idea together with them, we now also have venture building arm. So we are really working in a super early stage with the startups, with the universities, and to grow this AI ecosystem. So I'm really happy, we all share the same vision and sitting here. And now I would like to go into more diverse questions, more deep individual questions to the panelists. So I would like to start with Sabrina, because you have been working in various regions, including USA, Egypt, Argentina, South Africa, and Germany. So super impressive when I see how many countries that you already live in or work with. And you have a focus on Asia and now India. So how have these different contexts influenced your perspective on AI integration and development?
It's actually a very interesting question because personally I don't see that much of a difference between these different regions because they're all working around the same set of problems right now, which is how do we actually make sure that the skills are there, especially for young people now in this project, what we're doing now, actually to lead and to be successful in the job market. And as we can see, I mean, Asian nations have a very large and young workforce. So building into these skills, tapping into these skills will be really crucial also on a global scale, not only for compatibility, but also just to work together on these pressing challenges we are faced with. And as a German organization, of course, we are grounded by European values, making the European Union's AI legislation also work for us, which means, of course, data protection, privacy protection, but also the misuse of artificial intelligence, as we can see of cyberbullying, also large misinformation that exists also on the basis of artificial intelligence. And what we also heard before, I mean, there is a bias and we don't want to aggravate this artificial intelligence bias there is already. So that is basically what we're working for, and that's why there's actually not that big of a difference between the countries. It has to be ethic valued and driven by values, basically.
Yeah, I totally agree. So a few years ago, I always talk about the joke. in our AI team, we have background from Taiwan, from India, from Russia, from Iran. We are all data scientists coming from different country background, but we all speak in one common language. Guess what?
Java. Python.
No, English.
Yes, Python. So yeah, it really doesn't make too much difference. Especially like when I think like that's a beauty of technology of AI, because when you come from totally different background, but cultural background, but you can still share the same language and same vision and the challenge that you are facing. So another question, regarding to the similar direction about the different diverse background to Dong. So considering your previous experience in Europe, you used to live very long in Europe, and then you moved back to China to found your company there. And then you came back to Germany recently. So I'm super curious about like how do you decide to make these like international transactions?
Thank you for the question. So, indeed, I need to thank the city of Berlin, to where actually inspired my initial entrepreneurial thoughts. More than 10 years ago, I used to be in Berlin working for startups here, and I think from that moment on, I really, I was really obsessed with this, the passion and the enthusiasm or the energy to push things forward and have things done. And so then I, about 7-8 years ago, I decided to go back to China and then start some interesting startups there. Every one of them was actually connected to AI. So same as Tina, I actually studied computer science with focusing machine learning, computer vision here in Germany. And so all the things that I've been doing for the past years have somehow to do with the recent advancements or developments in the artificial intelligence industry. So many of them are kind of like applications in different areas. And the reason I went back to China at that time was, it was really getting excited about all these startups and venture capitalists investing into the Chinese market, because it's a lot of change and people see lots of opportunities and growing companies from 0 to 1, and I felt I was really interested in that, and then we were also closely watching the recent development of foundation models, large language models, as well as the a term we name AGI, but of course it's not there yet. So artificial general intelligence, and we feel so excited by all the recent products or developments that general public starts to use. It's not just it was not like an academic model anymore. So which was only primarily talked about in academia or in the really very experienced AI researchers or engineers or companies, but starting from the end of last year, everyone starts to talk about GPT, starts to talk about the other applications like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. So it's like we feel so excited to be at this period of the human history where we do see the AI or the artificial intelligence went from the narrow AI decades ago or even a couple of years ago to something where we see the generic capability of doing things that it was not trained for. And I think for anyone who are trained in this subject, it was the most exciting time period. So me and also my co-founder, Professor Hans Roskreuz, we started this company focusing on building foundation models and also later the vertical models on top of that, where we try to collaborate with different industry partners and build models for different industries, let's say like automotive, healthcare, consumer goods, retail, like financial services as well. So, and we really try to see how we can leverage the current AI technology to have the next generation of user experience, how we can use it to reduce cost, increase efficiency, and also be at places where the society or the humanity was not there yet. I mean, like to really be at some like frontier area where previously is out of reach. So I think this strongly encourages us to be in this area like immediately, and yeah, I think that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. And now I would like to move on to Tina. Given your comprehensive experience in research, AI business implementation, and leading an AI entrepreneurship center, you have a unique viewpoint on AI ecosystem development. Could you share your insights on how these diverse domains can interact efficiently from a robust AI ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think there are different factors that decide on how successful an ecosystem is actually. It depends on a lot of different factors, and one of these is, some of them are easy to influence, others are almost impossible to influence. So there's also a little bit of luck involved. Yeah? But what is super important for bringing a strong ecosystem to life, from my experience, is that you need the right players. You need the people who want to share the mission and who really want to bring their passion to this game. And if you're just one person and you try to establish something, it's going to be really tedious. Yeah? So you need a team, you need players to multiply that as well. And you need those people who are like the ambassadors of the idea from all the different stakeholders. So if you have something like we built, the AI startup ecosystem, we rely a lot on science, we rely a lot on the cooperation of universities and research institutes, but we also have a lot of need for already founded businesses and younger businesses to participate in our ecosystem. We have the founders who need to participate, who also need something to motivate them to be part of that. So everybody needs motivation to be part of that, and if you can hand in this motivation, so basically the question, what's in for me? Yeah? So if you can answer that, and you bring the right people on board, I think you have a very good fundament to start an ecosystem. And then, of course, there's a little bit demand of money as well. So you need some investment here. You need somebody to invest. You need maybe players who are already a little bit more grown up, or the government who wants to also support this idea to hand in a little bit of investment that you can grow whatever your offering basically is.
Totally agree. And like, for example, our company, we already invest like significant amount in AI, but now with much more new initiative. For example, Porsche Digital Campus, where I'm leading, is also multi-million fund. We investing in just for students and young professionals. So we really want to, like bring the future of talents on board from now on. So yeah, regarding to the investment, Hendrik, Merantix Group has experienced impressive growth with establishment of several entities like Merantix AI Campus, Merantix Momentum, and Adventure Studios. Could you share the key success to your, the keys to your success and your strategic approach to nurturing such rapid expansion?
Yeah, sure. So maybe to give everyone the full picture, we have a venture studio where we kind of incubate companies. We have a fund that we use to invest in these ventures. We then have Merantix Momentum that you mentioned, which is a services company. They build AI for larger corporates and the German Mittelstand. And then we have the Merantix AI Campus, which is our ecosystem, which is the physical place here in Berlin. We just opened up a campus in Basel as well, and might open up in a few other places in Europe as well. And yeah, this is kind of the Merantix ecosystem overall, and there are several other things that we are working on. I think the reason why we've been able to kind of set up these different entities and expand in that way is because we've always put the ecosystem at the heart of everything we do, right? So when we think about the venture studio, when we think as an investor, we never thought, we should keep everything to ourselves. Like, it could be very easy to say, oh yeah, we have great ideas, we want to do that in-house. We want to be the only ones who can invest in these companies. But for us, it was always very clear that to be successful, we need to open up. We need to speak to different players in the ecosystem. And we need to really foster that collaboration. And it's a big value for us. It's also a big value at the campus that we work together with other companies, even if they compete with us, right? We have some companies on the campus that are slightly competitive either to our own ventures or to the stuff that we do with Momentum. But for us, there's so much growth in the space and so much opportunity that it's not really about competition. It's about working together and getting everyone together. I think that's one thing, and then the other thing that's super important for us is the talent. So the hiring process at Merantix is very rigorous. It's kind of, it has several stages, several on-site days, and we really also are looking at the values that people have and whether they align with what we are trying to do and what we are trying to build. So putting a huge emphasis on making sure the talent that we get into Merantix is the right one.
Thank you. Yeah, talking about talents, we have 4 amazing industry leaders in AI being our panelists. And I would like to ask actually all of you, because I assume the audience will be very interesting to know there are lots of business owners and also leaders in this room coming from different backgrounds. And we are all looking for the talent. So I would like to know what would be the initial magnet to attract the right talents and the right participant in this AI ecosystem to all of you?
Well, okay, I'll start again. I think that talent is one of the crucial next question marks we need to solve. We all know that. I know it from my own teams, but I also have the experience with my startup teams that I take care of and then we support, and of course they deal with the talent question as well. And for startups, it's sometimes it's more complex even to offer something to the young talents, and there are not so many AI talents around because they can't pay so much salary. So sometimes there is a disadvantage in being a startup in the competition of talents. So what we do is we bring together, we join our forces, so we bring together whatever we can, and we also exchange a lot of ideas, and we also help each other out whenever there's somebody looking for some talent to complete the team. Also, I mean, we do have the advantage of being a university accelerator and incubator, and bringing all the Berlin universities together, we have more than 120,000 students in our back. So this is a big potential of talents that, of course, we also work with a lot. Additionally, we have the more than 20,000 researchers, lecturers at the universities that we also include. It's not only about bringing them personally into a startup, but it's also a lot about mentoring, so bringing expertise and knowledge in, and this is all, basically for us, it's a super important source and fundament of our work to have those universities and research institutes in our backend as a support.
Yeah, I think for us it really comes down to the individuals and their individual kind of values that they also live. So when Merantix started the campus, the first companies that joined were really not companies that were super excited about Merantix or the fact that we are an investor, but there were really personal relationships of the founders, and they knew that if the founders set something like this up, it will be a success and it will be a great ecosystem that people want to be part of. I think when it goes to then a certain size, obviously, the brand speaks for itself, the companies that are part of the ecosystem speak for itself, but at the heart of it is really a few individuals that are great leaders and that can kind of establish the ecosystem in the first place.
Absolutely, and what we're trying to do is just that, building this talent. As I said, what we're trying to do is building a network and getting this knowledge triangle to work between businesses, between universities and students, but also work together with policymakers and also work with civil society. And I think what is absolutely crucial is that all this is rooted in values. And I would like to point out two that to me sound really, really important. One is all the principles, all the feminist principles. What we also heard in the beginning of today is just like, how do we make sure that we just don't include women in a network? No, what we want to do now is really rooting feminist principles in the design of such networks, and that is what's all about, that reducing inequalities, that artificial intelligence is only reproducing. If we don't do anything against this, this will only go further, but that's why values come in and are very important. And the second issue would be inclusion. How do we make sure that nobody is actually left behind? So if we offer courses for university students in a region that is very unequal in some aspects, we need to find solutions to not only offer to those who already have, but also to those who are actually in need of not losing the train in this really rapidly changing world now, and equip them equally with digital skills that are really important to succeed nowadays in the job market.
For us, the talent is really the crucial part at the beginning of our company. So not like the other panelists. I mean, they are mostly having some kind of network or like doing, covering different startups. But for us, it's really just about one company for now. And so we need to, considering the nature of the topic that we are doing, it's a very costly project. So in order to attract funding in the beginning, we need to have a world-class team. And also in order to attract the talents, we need to have substantial funding. So in the beginning, it's really about the chicken egg. How do you get both of them at the same time? And fortunately, we had a good network from our background. So like former classmates, former alumni, former co-founders, like we built up a world-class team, which do not just have the people from OpenAI, also people from Google. So like really trying to build up a world-class team that people can see it has the skill set or the capability to build world-class state-of-the-art foundation models. And with that, we can raise our the first round of funding, and then with that funding, we continue to attract more talents. The good thing about Berlin is that it's always easy, to attract people from wherever they are, like from the Valley, from Asia, from other parts in Europe to Berlin, and it's not a difficult thing to convince them to come here. But of course, it's a relatively new topic. So in this topic, there are still very few talents in the world. So and one of my actually key responsibilities is really to get the right talents from the entire world, trying to attract them back to Europe, back to Berlin, and then focus on something that can contribute to the European markets.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is definitely like the responsibility for all of us. So from the corporate, from the startups, also from the government sectors, universities, and so on. So now we still have 7 minutes. Open up for 1 or 2 questions. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. Yeah, this one.
Hello, hello. Haha. Yeah, thank you so much for the talk. It's great to have so many experts here on the panel. And my name is Bastian. I'm the startup coach in the Berliner Hochschule für Technik. And we get many ideas in. So it's really hard for me to keep up with new developments in AI and this ecosystem. So I wanted to know from you experts, how do you keep up and what is your source of information to be up to date?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a challenge. Now things seem to change on a daily basis. Yeah. So for me, I can only say I'm a very busy person, so it's hard for me to keep track with everything. I confess that. But what helps me and supports me here is the network again, because I can rely on someone from my network to see at least every news. And whenever there's something in there that's importantly enough to mention it, I'm pretty sure they will mention it to me. And that's basically the way that I can survive those times now, because I don't have the time, honestly, to read 5 hours of news every day. Yeah? So it's mostly about scaling it to the team, scaling it to the network, scaling it to the community. And we do have, at the K.I.E.Z, we do have a very vibrant community, also in a digital way, and we share a lot of information there and news there, and I think that's how we can all keep up with that.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's great that we have a campus with 1,000 experts that are coming in every day, and yeah, they educate me every day, and I can kind of attend different talks, different events every day. And the other thing, honestly, is also just Twitter. So I'm just kind of reading a lot there.
Absolutely. I mean, we're competing with a machine here. I mean, it's impossible for one person to know it all. So that's where networks come in. But in my particular case, also team. I've got a team now in 4 different countries, including Germany, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and India. They all bring in their perspectives, what they pick up and what they think is actually important. So it's all about people sticking together and making the best out of it.
Yeah, I think I can't agree more with the other panelists. So, I think nowadays the media is also generating lots of news, like with the help of the generative AI. So we are really, you know, like confronting with much more information than before. And for me, like the topic that we are doing is one of the most popular topics right now. So we do get, you know, like much more information than necessary every day, and I think for us it's really just to focus on some, let's say, some trusted experts and people from the field that we really say, you know, their viewpoints, their reasoning, their background is something that we can trust more. So we kind of like focus our time more on such person instead of just you know, like listening to all voices. Thank you.
Yeah, so personally, I also do something similar. On my Twitter, I create an expert list. So the people I define as expert, I follow them. And also on my LinkedIn, I also have like group of people I follow. So now I will follow all of you on the panel. I think you are all very good source. But also at Porsche, we have AI Weekly, where all the data scientists globally from Porsche Group, Porsche Digital, NHP, Porsche Engineering, we have many entities all come together to exchange about our latest like industry trend, what kind of project are we working on globally at Porsche. But also we invite the industry expert to our weekly meeting as well to give us a speech and so on. So I think like if the company is big enough, of people are interested in AI group, and I think it's also really good to have a seminar style, having a weekly discussion to exchange with your colleagues, because I think that's a way you get the most relevant information about your daily life. Yeah. Thanks for your question.
I have a question to ask. I'm Group Captain Anand Naidu. I represent a cybersecurity ecosystem in India. 2 questions to the panel. Excellent discussion on the AI and its ecosystem. Only one, okay, fine. Is there any work going on towards international legal framework to regulate these disruptive technologies that are rapidly growing? Question is, legal framework internationally, is there any work going on? Or in the absence of that, what are the bigger companies doing to regulate legally? Thank you.
Yeah, so you're asking about the kind of international regulation of AI, correct? Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, in Europe at the moment, we're discussing the EU AI Act, right? That's a kind of a legal framework for artificial intelligence in Europe. There's lots of pros and cons. That's a whole other debate that we can't have in less than 50 seconds now. I think, maybe just one point, I think it's a good thing that in Europe we talk about regulation and that we want to come up with a framework that gives some sense of also security to companies who are building, that they know what the regulation will be. On the other hand, we need to be really careful that this innovation, that this regulation is not stifling the innovation that's happening in Europe. And if America, if Asia waits with regulation and we kind of go first and they see all the mistakes that we do, that might be, in hindsight, difficult for us. So yeah, whole other debate, but I think, yeah, we just need to be a bit careful.
Thank you. I think we are running out of time, but we will stay around for a bit, so you can ask more questions when we are off the stage. So thanks a lot for our panelists for the very insightful discussion. And yeah, I really like so many people are sharing the same vision, driving the innovation and AI ecosystem together. So yeah, thanks a lot again for our panelists. And yeah, see you all.